from Australia. Sunny with you today from Sunny Snaps, and I do all sorts of arts, crafts, and I also do photography. Today I am putting some signatures into this journal. I made this journal cover with a napkin which has been attached with watered down PVA, and then folded onto some chipboard and lined it with some plain calico in the middle, some paper with chooks on it, and this is part of the offcuts of my napkin. So I've made a little pocket to sit on the front, punched a hole with some eyelets and some old rope I had hanging around. Now, I wasn't today showing you how to put a signature in, but the wonders of technology, and I do decent photography skills, but not great video skills because the video was not running. So I sewed this one in without you, apparently. So what I'll do is now I'm going to prepare one of my other signatures for this book. So I'm just going to grab this other one that I have sitting here. Just put that to the side for a minute. Turn my piece of cutting board around. So under here I've got a really good Fiskars one, which I purchased a while ago, but I want to keep that really good. So this one here, this is a cheap one from Kmart, and I've bought a bunch of them years ago when I was doing a few classes and chopped them in half. Very cheap cutting board, and it doesn't matter whether I glue on it, stick on it, whatever I do. I just go scrub it, start again, and it's only cheap, so it doesn't really matter if it gets wrecked. So this signature, this is a book from a local magazine. I live in Toowoomba in Australia, and this is a local magazine they send around every now and then. Absolutely love it for junk journals. Lovely matte paper, beautiful pictures of the countryside and houses and all sorts of things. So it works really well. So this is another page, so I'm going to separate these because I don't want them together. And I didn't like the photo picture that was on there, so I've used another page, glued it on 3 sides, torn it out, and using that as a pocket. Piece of paper from Amazon. Piece of paper I painted with some leaf shapes. These are a couple of book pages, which later on I'm going to stick on here to cover the back of that boring page. And I'll do something with this page as well. I might actually turn that around. Beautiful picture from that magazine. It's another one from the magazine. Piece of lined paper. What I might do actually, so I really love this house, I might turn that around the other way. That one can be in the centre, and this one can come in here. And this little piece of grid paper, whoops, oh, that's not a folded piece. Grabbed the wrong one there, didn't I? That's okay, I've got some other bits here. This is a piece of napkin. These are the white pieces off the back of this chicken napkin that I covered with PVA glue, and then I've added in pieces of silver foil. They're from just the cheap little tiny bits of foil that you get in the cheap shops. And I've also put in some blue glitter. I don't know if you can see that. See there, maybe against the white. There's blue glitter in there as well. Just really textured. I really like the feel of that. And then the back side, because I did it on a silicone sheet and let it dry on the silicone sheet, is really smooth. So I'll probably add some pockets on that one later. So we'll put that one in as well. And I'll just push these book pages out of the way because I'm going to stick them in later. And let's see, how many pages do we have in here now? One. I'll put the pocket one in here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Righto. I think that'll do us for that one. So I'm going to pop them all down to the bottom. Now obviously my pages are too wide, and this page here is about the correct width. My book's about 5 inches wide and about 8 inches tall. So, or 5 3/4 inches wide. This page is just under 5.5, so that's about the widest I want my pages. So my Amazon paper I'm just going to fold in, and I'll make that into you can either leave it as a flap that flips out, or glue down the sides and make it into a tuck, which is probably what I'll do, but I'm just going to leave that. I'm going to do the designer bits later. This page, we've got to shorten these because this is the full width height that we want as well. We've got an 8-inch book, so I only want my pages about 7.5 inches high. If I check my signature that I've already put in here, they're 7.5 inches. So I'm quite happy to chop the white off the top of that. And I'll pull this one down. I don't need to chop the top off of that. I do need to trim down the outside, so that can stay there because that's too small amount to fold in. I can chop off the top of that. Yep, that's fine. That's about the right height, I know, and I can chop off the top of that. So I'll just push that all in together, get into the center. There we go. Push that back. Make sure they're all down. Push that back. Just going to put a couple of clips on here to hold this in place. And I'm going to trim them. So first I'll trim the height. So I know this page is a height, the width that I need. And I'm using a Fiskars knife. I use various knives. I've got quite a few around the place. The building type knives. I use them a lot. I've been using them for years. I've literally only just started using trimmers more often. I've just cut so many things with knives over the years. So all you do, I'm just going to turn this around a bit. Line up where you want to cut. I'm going off the line of the edge of this page. Hold your ruler nice and tight. Put your knife up against the ruler and press down nice and hard. Pressing hard on the ruler at the same time to hold it in place. Now, if you don't want to do it this way, you can use scissors. You can draw lines, you can use scissors, you can tear them, various different methods of trimming your papers. Depends what you want to do. To be honest, I just do whatever I feel like doing at the time I'm doing it. Now this napkin here is quite tough to cut. Holding it up, I think. There we go. Now we got it. Push all that away to the side. There you go. Nice clean edge for my rough papers. And the top I trim down to the height of this page because, yes, that's the same height as that one. So I'm just coming up here, lining my ruler up again, nice and tight, up against the ruler. You want to make sure you've got a nice sharp knife when you're doing this. If you've been using a blade for a while, change it to a sharp one, because blunt knives and drilling through stacks of paper doesn't go down very well. There we go. Take these clips off of here. Now I'm just going to check these papers are all up the right way. I'm going to move this paper up into the middle, and that other little piece of checkered paper, where is it? Oh, I didn't have that one in here, did I? No. Just kind of sit it in here. So it's going to sit in the middle one. And I'm going to have plenty of room for adding lots of ephemera and bits and pieces. So I'll open it up to the middle. put a clip on here and a clip on here. Hold them together. Get our template. This is the template I used to make the holes in here, which you didn't see because I mucked up the video. So I measured down about 1 inch from the top of the spine, 1 inch from the bottom of the spine, and a set of holes in the centre. Drew them on here. Marked these out. I found the centre here and put 5/8 of an inch between the pages. Space the signatures evenly apart and use this as my stencil to put my holes in, so they're all in the same place. So now if I use this on my signatures, my holes should be in the right place. So mark the top, because sometimes you might end up having your bottom holes or your top holes slightly different distances. In this instance, they're in the right place. So I just eyeball it, put an even amount of space at the top and bottom. Then I'll just mark on each line of holes where my holes need to go. Get my awl, which has run away here, and poke through. Because these are only mostly fairly lightweight papers and not a very thick signature, I can just do this by hand quite easily. Sometimes if you've got a lot more, you may want to use a book, or some people have a cradle that's timber set on 45 degrees, so you can sit your book in it like this, or you can use a book that you've got. I'll just show you with this signature. Open your book up to the middle, obviously a book that you're not reading anymore, and sit this in your book and then press on down on here and press your awl into there. And that's another way to get your holes, make sure they're a bit accurate. And what I'll usually do is let my awl sit in there, in that top hole, just holds them together on that side while I get my thread ready. So I'm using a wax thread. Got this one from Temu. Generally you go 1, 2, 3 times the length of the page. That gives you plenty of thread, so you've got some left over, which is much better than running out. I use a fairly thick needle with a big eye. Getting old, don't like trying to thread little needles. Nice and easy to thread. You start in the centre hole. Because I've got my awl sitting in there, whoops, line it up. Got to put it in your journal, don't you? Line it up with your centre hole here. There we go. Now I'll just roughly line up this hole at the bottom here. Go through the bottom hole. If you're not getting it through, just open your book up so you can find the hole. There we go. If you've got reasonable size holes, it's actually pretty easy. It's not too bad. I just pull that thread through so there's a smaller tail, and then I hold this and pull that all out. Go through the top hole in there, pull that thread through, and I'm just going to pull a bit more play here. And your centre hole now should go through fairly easily, but try not to split your thread, so don't put your needle through the other thread, just hold it to the side a bit. And of course it's going to play up on me. Just eyeball it, then make sure it's on the other side of that middle thread. Show you what I mean by that. You can take your needle off now. So you have your middle piece, you have one thread on one side, the other thread on the other side. And then just pull it tight. Before you tie it up, always check, make sure your string's nice and tight on this side, because you think it's tight and you turn it over and it's like, Whoa, nowhere near tight. Now we do left, left, over right, right over left, gives you a more secure knot. And then I usually like to tie it off with a third one, which is I loop it around here twice. And I believe that's called a surgeon's knot. I could be wrong there. I'm no specialist in knots for sure. Because it's a wax thread, you just push it down, it just flattens it out. And I'm just going to leave the threads on here for now because I'm not sure what I'm going to do with them yet. I might tie them in a bow, I might leave them hanging. I might put a couple of charms on there. Not really sure. So I'm just going to leave that as that is for the moment. Okay, so there is the second signature in this book. And it's coming together quite well. Just turn it over, press your folds down, sit it in there. Second signature, ready to go. And I'm going to sign off now, and I'll come back on the next video and do the next signature, which I've got a couple of things I need to do in it, and I'll show you what I'm doing with them before I can sew it in. So we'll do that on the next video. Thank you for being with me today. Press like and subscribe if you wish, and have a wonderful day. Catch you later.